to PowerCat Live. I'm here again with Marc Schweigert, my fellow PowerCat. We're going to talk some more about application lifecycle management in Power Platform. Hi again, Marc.
Hey, Phil, how's it going?
It's still going well.
I feel like I just spoke to you.
I feel like these were recorded back to back, in fact. So today we're also going to talk about custom connectors, but we're going to talk about authentication and OAuth configuration and how you make sure that stays properly updated as you move between environments.
Yeah, so I think, so last time we spoke, I explained there is a behavior in how the OAuth configuration for a custom connector works on solution import that is not necessarily what some people expect. And that behavior essentially is that what's in the solution gets applied in the downstream environment, which effectively clears out the OAuth configuration from being in a working state, because we don't ship the client secret in a solution for good reason. It's a secret, right? And so what most people want, and frankly, what we wanted as we were doing CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment of our custom connectors that used OAuth configuration, like we want that OAuth configuration to be preserved. And what was happening is it was getting wiped out every single time, and we have to manually go in and reconfigure it. We worked on a quick fix with the connectors team. It unblocks us, and it'll unblock other people in the short term until the connector team, introduces some new enhancements that will be coming at some point in the future to make this whole custom connectors ALM experience a little bit more seamless and smooth.
So show us how this works.
There is a file that is part of the solution export that contains all these settings. If that file is empty on solution import, they will just not try to apply the settings. But by default, that file is never empty when you export the solution. What we do today, if you go over to our code in the COE starter kit, so if you go to Microsoft, github.com/Microsoft/COE starter kit, and you look at the ALM accelerator for advanced makers, we in fact have a custom connector in here that uses OAuth configuration. If you go to the connection parameters.json file, you'll see it's empty, right? By default, this doesn't happen. By default, if you just take unzip the solution, you unpack it, and you commit it to your source control system, this will have information in it. What we do is we have a pipeline that essentially goes through and on export of the solution before we and after we unpack it, before we commit it to our repo, we basically just clear out the contents of that file. That is the quick fix short-term solution. So if you're not already automating export, unpack, commit through a pipeline or some other mechanism, you'll have to manually go into the connection parameters.json file and clear out the file.
Just empty that file, but leave it included in the solution zip file.
Right, leave it included, but empty out the file. So once we do this, then when we repack the solution and we get it into a zip file, this file is now empty. And now when we import the solution into a downstream environment that has that custom connector that already has been configured in a working state for its OAuth configuration, that OAuth configuration is preserved. So now in our CI/CD pipelines, every time we deploy to our test environment, our connector continues to work. And when we make changes to the connector and we import to the test environment, those changes show up. If no changes have been made to the connector, but there's been changes to other things in the solution, the connector is still in the state it was since the last deployment, but it's also still in a working state because it's no longer having the OAuth configuration overwritten. And so summary point, clear out this file before you recompose the solution, or if you're not doing source control, unzip the file, go into this, right? Clear out that file, underscore connection parameters.json file, rezip it, and then import your solution. Again, this is not an ideal workaround, but it really was a quick fix until a more end-to-end sort of native solution could be accomplished.
And you mentioned one thing in there too. So then you're manually configuring the OAuth the first time you import the connector to the downstream environment.
That's right. Today, because of the way the backing APIs that are used to configure OAuth, we can't configure OAuth using a service principal, right? So manually, the way that we work today is the first time we get in the environment, the first time the connector is deployed, we configure OAuth once, and then from that point on, any new updates to the actual connector
yeah.
defined, and the OAuth configuration is preserved.
As long as that file is empty.
That's right.
Yeah.
But if you put things in that file, then it will overwrite the OAuth configuration.
Mark, what you're suggesting, Dan, is that someone unzip this file and unzip the solution file and edit this file manually. Now, that's not a supported action today, even though it is a workaround for our enterprise customers. Is that right?
Yeah, that is true. So if you look at our documentation, there is actually pretty clear guidance around what you are allowed to edit inside of a solution file and what you aren't, right? And this file doesn't live under the what you're allowed to edit set of files in a solution file, and it's also not in the current list of files that that aren't supported. It's sort of it's sort of implicit that if it's not in the list that are allowed, everybody just assumes you can't edit the rest. And technically, if you do edit a solution file and something goes wrong and you call support and they're like, well, you edited the solution file, that's why it's not working, right? That kind of thing can happen. This is a relatively safe caveat to the recommendation because we work directly with the connectors engineering team and PM team to use this as a quick fix. Now, it's not documented anywhere, and hopefully this document kind of serves as that interim, or this video serves as that interim documentation to give people some comfort in doing it right now until we have a better end-to-end sort of experience in the platform.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? This is a pro tip, and if you don't understand and feel comfortable editing solution files, then this probably isn't something that you should be doing in the first place. This is a great workaround. This has been, I know, super useful for some of my customers. So thanks for sharing it with everyone today.
Absolutely, happy to help.